So we'll get to, am I on? Yeah. 19-479 Preservation Grant 1904 for a window repair at 916 Washington Street. And then the commission report.
All right, I have some pictures to show, so bear with me. So this is a preservation grant request. The address is 916 Washington Street on the corner of 10th and Washington. Just to remind you, 3 years ago, this property was awarded a grant for windows on the north side? South side of the home. And so now the windows on the front and the turret of the Queen Anne are the subject of this grant application. So is this showing up on your guys' screen? Mm-hmm. Yep. Great. Mm-hmm. So this is the C.G. Huntley House, built in 1896, Queen Anne in the McLaughlin Conservation District. The applicant has submitted a request for preservation grant to repair the second-story windows on the front and on the turret here. And this is the view from Washington. I'll flip through photos as I talk, but the grant application from 3 years ago, the applicant did submit 2 bids for that and ended up going with Chosen at that time. And so this time around, instead of getting 2 bids, they would like to stick with Chosen again because it's the same, the windows are the same, that did good work last time. And so that's the reason why we only see 1 bid in the request. So the estimate from Chosen is $6,256 for 6 double hung windows. And you can see their condition here. And then the project 3 years ago, this is the after photos of that project. So I just wanted to show you that. The windows are generally all the same size and style. So I looked back at the request or the grant award from 2016, and I had not ever seen this in writing anywhere before, but what it said was, for projects that are in excess of $2,000, that the board can do a 50-50 matching grant for the first $2,000, right? So $1,000 grant award, and plus 25% of the project value over $2,000. I don't know where that came from, but 3 years ago, it was in the staff report, and the board awarded more than $1,000 to some projects in 2016, apparently based on that formula. So because this project is $6,000, so the first 50% match or 50-50 match would be $1,000, and then for the value or the estimate that's over $2,000, the 25% would be another $1,064. So that all being said, we only have $5,000 a year. It's early in the grant cycle. We have already awarded 2 grants of $1,000. So we have $3,000 to play with until July of 2020. Oh. And we have $10,000 total for the biennium for the 2-year period. So we've awarded $2,000 already.
$3,000.
So I would definitely recommend awarding a $1,000 grant to the applicant. But also, if we use this formula of the 25%, then we could award her $2,064 total. So because it's early in the grant cycle, I would offer an option to you that the board approve now a total of up to $2,064 if that funding is available come the end of the year. So she would get her reimbursement of $1,000 whenever the work is done, and you can show a receipt. And then if by June 30th, 2020, if we still have any grant funding left in the cycle, up to another $1,064 we cut another check to you without having to come back to the board. So if you'd like to award more than $1,000, that's the one way that you could do it and still have funding available for people that might be requesting grants in the meantime.
When was that awarded last time in the cycle?
So last time, the
Like
cost
what month?
estimate, I don't know what month, but the thing about last time was that the cost estimate was just a little bit over 2,000, and so the total award was only like 1,100. So it wasn't like a significantly larger amount than $1,000.
Windows. Did you go back and look in the grant regulations and, all that, find that?
I couldn't find that, but I don't know how, I don't know how it made its way into a staff report in 2016, but I'm sure it was copied from some other staff report at some point. So it's possible that the board a few years ago decided to, do that. And that's perfectly.
Might have been at the end of the cycle too.
Is that potentially someone who wants to come in for the meeting?
Oh, he's trying,
I'm
He's trying
just
to
gonna
get
go
in, but
see
I
if he's here for the meeting. Because the door's probably locked.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Could be Grant.
no,
Oh, I
think it
didn't
was-
see his
Looked like
face.
Grant.
No, it didn't look like Grant. But we could do something like that.
Oh. I couldn't see your face, I'm sorry. It's like someone wants to come in. Like, oh, it's Grant.
Oh, that's
Oh, it is Grant.
Oh, that's Grant.
I was trying to think, who would want to get out of here? Nobody wants to get in here. Come on.
About that, Grant.
That's classic. It's like, who's that punk out there, man?
All right.
A loiterer.
So, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well,
Just as to where the,
remember when I was on the board years ago was when the overall grant was basically cut in half.
Oh, okay.
And I have a very vague memory, and my memory is pretty questionable. But I have a vague memory that at that time we did change the rules to not allow the additional 25%. It
Oh,
seemed
so that was-
good when we were flush in money. And I think we used that on a number of occasions, but I think that's what happened to it. Now, whether or not, number one, my memory is any good, and number two, whether or not we want to stand by that is,
Okay,
I
so,
wouldn't bank on it.
so that was part of the program in the past,
I
it sounds
think
like.
it was, yeah.
Okay, so although I think in 2016, maybe it wasn't, whoever was staff then might have just copied it from something.
Yeah, it must have been sometime around
when we were going through.
2010 or even
Yeah.
before when the grant was reduced.
Okay,
And also, we had quite a changing of staff during that period.
in 2016, right.
20,
It
yeah.
was the
Yeah.
person who was here for maybe like 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was that guy or something like that.
Yeah, we had a couple.
Yeah.
So happy to have you. But if it's not showing, if you can't find reference to it,
Well, so the other part is what is in the current program is that applicants can request up to $3,000 over a 2-year period through like a phased project or, you know, so there's a limit to how much one person can get over 2 years. And so this, I think if you wanted to award more than $1,000, it would still be appropriate, given that we do say that one applicant can get up to $3,000 over 2 years. So we would just need to make sure and track that so that, you know, we're not awarding some additional
Somebody
funding
more than
next year
one.
that would put it over the limit.
Right.
But if you did it for this, you could say that for every project that came in, if there's any money left over and it worked out, they could get it too.
You could, but you know, one thing that the grant application does say is that the board can weigh in score. I mean, it talks about scoring, although we don't really do scoring. But in making it your decision, you can consider the impact of the project, how public facing it is. So like projects on the front facade of a house, you know, can be considered more, get more bang for your buck maybe than something on the back. So, you know, you all have the power to decide if a grant request, if any particular grant request is so compelling that you'd like to, you know, award more money or not.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to imagine a more compelling project than this one. Question would be, without actually dividing it into two projects, could the applicant come back toward the end of the grant cycle, say next May, and amend the request to include another 1,000, or is there some provision that we could do to still give others the opportunity, because that's what this is all about?
Yeah. So I think, so we did last year, you might remember, we awarded an additional $1,000 for a project because at the end of the cycle, we had a bunch of extra funds. And so for that project in Kenema on Fifth Avenue, we did award more. What I would recommend for this one is, instead of making the applicant come back, that you kind of pre-approve, if you would like to, pre-approve the additional funding, but only if it's available. So only if other folks don't request that
I'm
grant
sold
funding.
on that. Sure.
But I have a question. So if you know, we still have 9 months, I don't know how long, 9 months, something like that, until then. If there's other projects that come in that request money, and there's still money at the end, and it's the same situation, because this is the first time we've encountered this.
Right.
Would we then prorate it? Like if we're, you know, if somebody else is having a $6,000 or $7,000 project, say, and we give them the 1,000 and do the same thing as we are with her, can it then just, do you see what I mean?
I do, yeah.
We need to have some kind of,
you could do that.
Process.
You know, if you think there's another really compelling grant application comes in and you'd like to be able to award more funding, or you could say that, well, we've already, this additional funding is already spoken for if it's available. And so you could tell the other grant applicant, like, maybe phase your project and request another 1,000 next year. I mean,
It's kind of a crapshoot. If it's there, great, use it. If it's not,
Right.
someone else is going to use it, and that's the deal.
yeah.
So, and I'd be fine with that, because if there isn't anything, it's a worthy cause, just like you said. But if other things come in and it fills up, that's just what it is.
it's a moot
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, that's how it would be.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, that's not talking about it, I think, unless someone has a question about that.
Well, I think
So
that,
Grant, just to catch you up, we are discussing whether so I'm recommending awarding the $1,000, and then
That seems groovy to me.
there used to be a provision apparently for awarding 25% of the project costs over 2,000, and so that would add another 1,064. that I would recommend awarding at the end of the cycle if it's available. Or, you know, let's say there's only $400 left, then we would award that $400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Is that good?
That's all I have. We went through all the photos, and then the applicant's here if you have any questions for her.
Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? No?
Good project.
Good project. Does somebody want to make a motion for whatever
I don't know what.
Kelly said?
Yeah. I move that we approve the grant,
Right here.
19-04, for $1,000 at this point, and potentially the additional amount up to 25% of the
Bid.
of the value over $2,000 to be awarded if funds are available at the end of the grant cycle, or to be awarded at the end of the grant cycle if funds are available. How's that?
That's great.
Restructure it.
Is there a second?
Second. Oh,
Double second.
Board Member Met,
aye.
Board Member Blythe,
Aye.
Board Member Basinger,
Aye.
and Chair McLaughlin.
Aye.
Wonderful.
Go make it look pretty. Thank you.
I'm trying. I don't know if you know or not, but that second floor Juliet porch has been having to be redone. We're 3 weeks into that project, and all of those balustrades, you know, along with the first floor porch as well, that line the second floor porch, it's harder to see and have to have special mill. Found a fantastic woodworker, and stripping the paint off those main posts on that second floor porch. It looks really ornate to begin with, but as we're getting into it, those like horseshoe arches also have beaded grooves in them that have over the years been puttied up and make it look flat, just as the, you know, obviously you wouldn't be able to see it from the street, you know, or even sitting on the porch because it's outward facing. So I've got that whole top section going on this year.
That's a very inexpensive home to deal with, so. Yeah. It's a labor of love, right?
It's called a Pandora's
You
box.
gotta love it so much you hate it, and hate it so much that you love it.
Oh yeah, keeps
And
your
then-
house poor.
And then you find I'm in good hands. I've managed to find really good people with good hearts and great skills. So.
That's awesome. Well, it's a very prominent house.
Yep.
So, but thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I think we're done.
We are.
Okay.
Woohoo.
Yeah, that's all we got to say.
We'll see you next
We're
month.
adjourned.
Sign out.